Hi, this video is on database testing. In this video, we look at what are the different parts of a database, what is the data and what is schema. Then we look at what items we can test in the schema, what items we can test in the data. We'll look at practical examples of how to do database testing. Then we'll move on to the challenges that you can face in database testing. And finally, we look at the database testing approach and a sample database test plan. So even if you do not have any prior experience of database testing, this video is useful for you because it will explain everything from the very beginning. So let us get started. First, what is a database? Well, a database is a long-term data storage. So many systems that we use databases in the backend where the user's data and other supporting data is stored long term. So which means that even if the application is no longer being used, the data continues to stay in the database and it can be used the next time by the users. Also, database means that it is a standard form of storage. In a relational database management system, the data is stored in tables. And if you understand the concept of tables, then you can look at the database and you can see how it is organized and understand how the data is stored in the different tables, and you'll be able to test it. Also, database means that it is an organized form of data storage. So instead of having various formats all mixed together, the data is stored in the form of tables, and you can write your own SQL queries to look at specific data in the database. And also you can look at the data programmatically via your application code. So let us look at the parts of a database. Every database has two main parts. The first main part is the data itself, and the second is the schema. So what is data? Data is information about interest that is stored in the database. So for example, if it is a company database, the company is going to have some products, it's going to have some customers, there are going to be some orders. So the data related to the customers, products, orders, etc. is stored in the database. If it is a database belonging to a school, then you can have data related to students, data related to teachers, data related to courses or classes, etc. stored in the database. So the data stores, the database stores the data that is relevant to that particular application. Now the data is stored in the form of tables, and we need to really understand the concept of the tables. Now a table really is a set of rows, and every row has many columns. So let us look at an example of the data stored in the form of a table. So here I have a test database, and there is a table called customers. So I can look at the data by using the select command, the select query. So I'm saying select star from customers. So it shows me all the data in the customers table. Now here we can see there are many rows over here. So this is row 1, and then we have row 2 and row 3. Now the data in a single row, for example, row 1 is data belonging to a particular entity. Now what do I mean by entity? Well, in the case of customers table, the entity is the customer. So one row contains the data of exactly one customer. So here we can see that this particular customer has a customer ID of 1. It has a customer name of cust1. There is cust1 billing address, and cust1 address is the shipping address. So all this data in this row belongs to a single customer whose name is cust1. Similarly, if we move to another row, then we get the data for a different customer. So here for that different customer, the customer ID is 1, the name is different, the billing address is different, the shipping address is different. Another way to understand the table is to think of every row as containing data of a particular object. So we can say that this particular row, the row number 1, contains data of the cust1 object. So every column in that row shows one property of that object. So if we are talking about the cust1 object, the customer ID property is 1, the name of that object is cust1, and there is a billing address and there is a shipping address. Let us look at one more example. In this test database, there is another table called products. So let us look at the products. So once I execute this query, it shows me all the rows for the products table, and here also in this table the organization is similar. Every row contains data for exactly one product of the company. So the first row is for the product whose product ID is 1, its unit price is 1, name is P1, and it has 001 as a serial number. There is a product 1 description, and there are 10 units in stock. Taking the object analogy, we can say that the first row belongs to object with name P1. So if P1 is our product, so we have the different properties. The product ID property of this object is 1, its unit price is 1, its name is P1, and so on. So this is how the data is stored in the database in the form of tables, and every column in that particular row contains one piece of information about that entity, one piece of information about that object. So let us move on. Next is the main part of the database is the schema. The schema is really the data structures that are used to store the database. Now we have already seen that in the database, before we can store any data, we have to create tables. So when we define our tables, what is the table name, what is the columns it contains, what is the data type, whether integer, float, decimal, date, or character data. So this is the data structure, and the data structure in the database is called the schema. So tables and columns are part of the schema. So once we define what is the database, we need to define each of the tables, and we have to specify the details of each of the columns that is there in each table. Along with tables and columns, there are other parts of the schema, and these are views, stored procedures, functions, and triggers. We look at examples for each one of these schema objects. But put very simply, a view is a section of the database. It can show you the data from a single table or multiple tables, and it is really a useful shortcut when you just want to see section of the database. You don't want to write your own query, or you don't want to use any query builder tool, but you just want to see any specific section of the data in which you are interested. You can use the view. So view is also part of the schema. Then we have stored procedures. Stored procedures are small programs, and they contain SQL queries, and the stored procedure can accept inputs. So for example, you just want to insert customer's order. So the stored procedure can build all the rules for you, meaning that it will first insert the customer, then for that particular customer it will insert the order, etc. So stored procedures are also schema objects. Then we have functions. Difference between stored procedure and function is that stored procedure contains input parameters and output parameters, and functions just contain the inputs. We cannot get the output from the function, whereas we can get the output parameter from the stored procedure. So functions are for simpler things, but they contain their own logic, and that is a part of the schema. So in database testing, we have to test all these things. We have to test the data itself, and we have to test the schema also. There is another schema object, and that is the trigger. A trigger is a small program that automatically executes when you perform operations on a table. On a table, you can perform the insert operation, which means that you are going to insert one row, or you can perform the update operation, which means you can update all parts or any part of a particular row, or it can be a delete operation where you can delete a particular row. So trigger is the program that is automatically executed if it's an insert trigger whenever defined on a particular table. If a row is inserted, that insert trigger will automatically get executed. Same thing happens for update trigger and delete trigger. So let us move to how we can test the schema in database testing. So first, what we have to test is the table. In the table, while we are testing the schema, we have to find out whether the table is logical. It is complete, which means it contains all the necessary columns in it. Every column has to be tested separately, but that we'll just see in a minute. The table name should be correct. It should not be a very short name, or it should not be a very long name, or it should not be a meaningless name, etc. The table should contain the correct keys. The table should contain unique information in every row. That means there should not be any duplicate rows in the table, and the table should not contain any unnecessary columns. So let us look at how we can test the schema. Now this is our test database over here. So here we can start testing the schema of the customers table. Now remember, we are not talking about the data, we are talking about the schema testing for customers table, and this has to be done for each and every table in the database. So first of all, we can open up this table in to look at what is the design. So it says the table name is customers, which makes sense if it contains customers data, so that is okay. The name should not be very long. It should not be something like this is the customers table, and it should not be very short, like the table name should not be C. If it is C, then people may not understand what this table exactly contains, and that will lead to confusion and loss of time, etc. Also, it should be complete. It should contain all the necessary columns. So here we can see in this table, the columns are customer ID, name, billing address, shipping address. If there is other information you want to store in your database regarding the customer, say you want to store date of joining or date of first purchase, you can make that suggestion if that is what is needed in your applications. Then we can test the keys. So here we can see that customer ID is the primary key of the table, meaning that the customer ID is going to be unique in each and every row in the customers table. So we can go back to the customers table and see whether the primary key is actually unique. So customer ID is the primary key, so we can see that it is unique 1, 2 and 3. Now other thing that we can test in the schema is that the columns itself. So let us move on. So the next thing we can test within each table, apart from the overall table itself, is each and every column. So in the column we can test whether the data type is correct. Every column has a data type. The size should be sufficient to store the data. The name of the column should be correct, and the constraints can be there to restrict invalid data from being inserted into that table, and the relationships should be correct. So let us look at the columns of the customers table here. So here we can see customer ID is int, so which is fine, and it allow nulls is also disabled, which means that the primary key cannot be null. You cannot just not have a primary key. You cannot have a blank primary key. Next column is the name. So here the data type is character data, and it can accept up to 50 characters maximum. So the name of the customer can be 50 characters. This looks okay. If it is too short, maybe 10 characters or 20 characters, then that can be a defect, because it will not be able to store all customer names. Allow nulls is enabled here, which means that you can have a blank name. So this can be a defect, that it allows for blank customer name. One suggestion you can have over here is that instead of just having one name column, it can be divided into two columns, the first name and last name. So that way the data can be more organized. Instead of bunching all the entire name into a single column, we can have separate columns for that. So same test we can do for the other columns over here. So billing address, here the maximum number of characters is 100 characters. So it looks okay, and shipping address looks okay. Same thing we can do for other tables also. So for example, we can test the columns of the product table. So here looking at all the columns, the product ID is integer, it is the primary key, this is fine. Unit price is a decimal. This looks okay, the name looks okay, then name is there, and 50 characters may or may not be sufficient depending on what you know about the data being used in the application. Then serial number is okay, description looks okay, and units in stock looks okay. One other thing you have to test is that the key that is in this table may be related to the key in another table. So here we can look at the diagram, and just to give you an example, in the products table we have all these columns, and here there is a relationship between the products table and the order details table. This is the relationship over here, and here we can see that this relationship is on the product ID, because product ID is the common column. It's in products also, and it's in order details table also. So that is the relationship between products and order details, which means that every row in order details table has to have an existing product ID which exists in the products table. Otherwise the order details does not make sense if it is an invalid product ID which is not present in the products table. So we'll look at these things a little later, but let us move on now. So this is how you can test the columns. Then view is another schema object. There may be multiple views in your database, so you should test each of one of those views. The view really means that it is the section of data in which you are interested, and it has to get the data from the correct tables. So the view can show data from multiple tables also by finding out what are the common information among those tables, and it should be fast. So let us see an example of how we can test a view. We have a view over here, and this is the view. So let us open it in design to see what this view really is. So this is the entire view. So the view name is ordered products, and what this means is it will show us which products have been ordered. There may be many products of the company, but what are the products that have been ordered by the customers? So this view is getting information from two tables. It is getting it from products, and it is getting it from the order details. So here it says select product ID name and sum of order details quantity. Okay, so it is getting the product ID from order details table, the name from the products table because that is where the name is stored, quantity from the order details table, and there is a join. It is joining or finding out the intersection of the products table and the orders table. So it is finding out those products which exist in the orders table. So we can run this view and see what it gives us. So here it says that product ID 1, name is P1, and total ordered items are 11. So let us test it out. So what we can do is select star from products, and for database testing you need to be able to either write queries or build your queries by the available tools. In fact, writing queries is very simple if you know what is the select statement. So let us use a select statement. I'm going to open a new query window. So what I want to do is select star from products. If I just give select star from products, I have to change the database name here. So if I do a select star from products, it means that it shows me all the rows, but I'm not interested in all the rows. So I just want the row where in fact let me select from the view, select star from ordered products. So we want to test whether the data that it is showing in row number 1 is correct. So we are interested in product ID of 1. So as I said, if we do a select star from products, it shows us all the products, but we are only interested in products where product ID is 1. So we can include a where clause, where product ID is equal to 1. So this will show only those rows where the product ID is 1. So it should be exactly one row because it is a products table. Every row should have a different product. So we are getting it, the product ID is 1 and the name is P1. So for product ID 1, the name should be P1. So let us go back to our view and see whether this is actually the case. Product ID 1, name P1. So yes, it is correct. Product ID is 1 and name is P1. Now the next thing we have to test is that total ordered details should be 11. A total of 11 product 1 should be ordered. So where we get this information is from the order details table. So we say select star from order details where product ID is equal to 1. So let us run this query and we get 2 rows. There are 2 order detail line items which have the product ID of 1, and if we add up the quantity here is 1 and 10, so this is 11. So in our view ordered products, it should show the total ordered quantity as 11 for product ID 1. So this is what it is showing here. So the view is working correctly. Other thing we can test is that the view is fast. So as you can see, as soon as I run it, it takes less than a second to show me the required data, and so that is okay. Now let us move on, and next is we can test the schema objects, stored procedures, functions, and triggers. Here what we need to test is that the logic is correct and the outputs are correct and it is fast. So let us run a stored procedure. There is a stored procedure called delete customer. Now let us go back and see where that query is there. Okay, now let us do a select star from customers. So here we see there are three different customers, and let us just add or insert one more customer, and then we can test the delete customer stored procedure. So the statement SQL statement for inserting is insert into customers, and then we can give the column names, customer ID, name, bill address, ship address, and then we have to specify the values. So I want to insert customer ID 4, the name I want as cust4, and I'll just give billing address as the billing address and shipping address as the ship address. And let me parse this query to see if it is fine, and now let me execute it. So I have executed it now. So it says one row is affected, so that is what we were expecting. Now we are getting 4 customers here. So what I just inserted, cust4, billing address, shipping address, that is now another new row in the customers table. Now we can test the delete customers stored procedure. So we can test it by executing it. So exec delete customer, and we have to specify the ID that we want to delete. So I can give ID of 4. So now keep in mind that the customers table right now contains 4 rows, and there is a customer ID of 4 in one of the rows. Now let me execute it. It says command executed successfully. Let me again see the data in the customers table, and now yes, it is actually gone. The customer with customer ID of 4 is gone from here. So the stored procedure is working correctly. So this is how we can test stored procedure. Same thing we can do with functions. There can be functions created by the developers. For illustration purpose, I'm just going to use the function that are built into SQL Server. So let us say I want to test the built-in function square. So I can say select square of 2, and I'm expecting it to show a value of 4. So it does show 4, and it is less than a second execution time, so it is okay. And let me test with another value, -5, and run it. It says 25, which is again correct, so this is fine. So this way you can test the functions also. Let us see another function. Select get date is another function. It returns the system date. So it is saying 19th February 2014, and with the time also, and fast also. So this is fine. So this is how we can test the schema or in our database testing. Now let us see how we can test the data. Now testing the data is where majority of your effort will go in database testing, because schema testing you can do whenever the database is first designed and created, and whenever there are major changes to the schema, that is when you do the major schema testing. Other than that, whenever there are some changes to the schema, like the developers have added some stored procedures, you can just test those stored procedures, etc. When the developers have added a few functions or views, you can test just those views. But data testing in database testing is the main part. So what we can test in the table? In the table, we can test that is the data correct with respect to the source. If the data is coming from some source, let us say you fill up a form on your application user interface, and let us say it is a user registration form, and you put in the first name, last name, date of birth, email address, and you click on the submit button. You expect the same data, whatever you have entered on the UI, is stored in the correct table in the database, and you can do that by looking at the relevant tables and see that exactly the same data is stored. The source can be different. Sometimes data can be loaded into your database by data migration from another source. Say the data came from a big XML file, or it came from another database, etc. We'll go into detail of database migration testing in another video, but whatever data is there in the table, we have to find that it is correct with respect to the source data. The source data can be what data the user has entered, or what data existed in the other system or source that has been migrated here. Then the data has to be complete. The data should be unambiguous, and it should be unique. That means that there should not be any duplicate rows in the table, and obviously the data has to be fresh. So let us see an example of this one. So here let me look at the products table. Select star from products. And one other thing we can keep in mind is that sometimes when we say select star from products, star means show all columns. So if there are many columns, we may not be interested in all the columns. So here we can specify the column list. So let us say I just want to see product ID and name columns from the products table. So instead of star here, I can say select product ID comma name from products, and then it will just show me those two columns. But let us again go back to all columns, because we want to look at all the data. And here what we can see is all the data is there. And here we can see that what we can test is that the data is correct. So we can actually find out whether the name P1 contains serial number 001, and the description should be product 1. And we can also check whether there are any duplicate rows. So let us say we want to find out if any name is duplicated or not. So let me write a query to find out if there are any duplicate names, because visually I can see that the name P1 is duplicated over here. But I want to check for all duplicates, especially if it is a large number of rows and we cannot do the visual inspection test here. So I can write a query something like this: select name comma count of name from products group by name. So this is a query, and what we have done after writing the query, we have written group by name. So what we want to do, we want to group by the name column value. So it is going to find out what are the unique name values in this table, and it's going to tell us what is that value and how many times it appears. So let us run this query. So it says P1 appears 2 times, P2 appears once, which is correct, P3 appears once. So here is a defect. We have a duplicate entry for P1, and that we can go back and visually verify also, or we can use the where clause, where name is equal to P1. So it shows us 2 rows here. So this is a problem. The other problem that we can see is that the description given is in proper case in one, and it's in capitalized in the other. So this indicates that this can be a problem. And also the description in the row with product ID 4 is looks truncated. So this can be another problem. So we can check all these things when we are testing each and every column of each and every table, so that the data format is correct, it has the correct number of spaces, the characters are correctly represented, there should not be any junk characters, the capitalization should be correct, the data should not be truncated, and we can also check that the keys match with each other. So let us look an example whether the keys match with one another or not. So if we go to our database diagram, so here we can see that customers table is related to the orders table, and there is a common column, and that column is the customer ID. So we can verify whether these two tables contain this relationship correctly or not. So how we can do that? So let us select star from customers, and here we can see the customer ID is 1, 2 and 3. So let us look at the products table. Sorry, let us look at the orders table, and here also we see the customer ID. Now what we are really interested in is, does the orders table contain any invalid customer ID? So how we can do that is select star from orders where customer ID not in, and we can use another nested select statement. Select just customer ID from customers. So here what we can first find out is select all the customer IDs from customers. So these are all the valid customer IDs. From the orders table, we want to find out those rows where there is a customer ID that does not exist in the customers table. So there are no such rows, so which means the data is correct. If you find that writing SQL queries or nested queries like that is difficult, you can take a few test data values. For example, you can just select something from customers, and here you can note down that customer IDs are 1, 2 and 3, and then you can select the rows from the orders table, and here you can pick up. So let us say you want to find out whether 2 is a correct customer ID or not, whether it is valid or invalid, because in this orders table the customer ID is 2. So what you can do is you can go back to the customers table and say select star from customers where customer ID is equal to 2. You want to find out whether 2 is a valid customer ID or not. So yes, it is valid. So this is how you can test it, either by writing nested queries like this, or you can just take some test data values and test according to those. Okay. Now let us move on to the database testing challenges that you may face. So first is the large size of the database. Many applications and systems have databases with many tables. There can be hundreds of tables, and there can be hundreds or thousands of other objects like views, stored procedures, functions, triggers, etc. So it can be overwhelming. So the thing to do is first find out what are the important things that you need to test. So if it is only an incremental change from one release to another, so you may just want to test the newly added stored procedures and newly added views, and you may just want to test the data of the important tables that the users use very frequently, or tables that contain important information such as financial information or health related information, etc., or information that is required for legal compliance, etc., if you have less time. So you can scope the test items. And the second way to solve the challenge is to test according to the database test plan. So the database test plan, if you have that, you can follow that to do the methodical database testing. The next challenge in database testing is that many testers fall prey to this, and what they do is they test a copy of the development database. When the developers develop the applications, so they typically use a small database. Now, this database is really not a representative of the real production database. It may have few rows and some data just to get the application to work. It's in its very simple form. That is not where you will find defects, and those defects may or may not exist in production. So database testing ideally has to be done on the data that will exist in the production database. So you can take a copy of the production database and test it. So there you will be testing on the real data to find out the data defects. Sometimes it is not permissible to test the copy of the production database because the production database may contain sensitive information like financial information or health records, etc. So what many organizations do is that they take a copy of the production database, but they hide the sensitive information. For example, if there is credit card numbers in that database, obviously you don't want to expose yourself to people's credit cards. So that column can be just hidden, or part of the column can be erased, or it can be the digits can be randomized. There are several possible ways of hiding that data, or you can just put nulls in that column wherever sensitive information is there, because you don't want to be exposed to the user's sensitive information. But the volume of the data in the production database, that is where you will see the real data size and volume that is used by users, and that is what should be tested. Another challenge in database testing is frequent changes. Sometimes when you're testing the database, the developers may also be making changes to the database by introducing new objects or modifying the existing schema, etc. So always analyze the impact of those changes, and if required, redesign the tests and retest the impacted objects. One other challenge is the lack of SQL skills. Some testers think that they find SQL a bit hard, and not able to use it, but it is not really the case. As I've shown you, it is simple if you just keep it very basic. If you use the select statement, let me show it to you again. So let us say we just want the data to from the customers table. So all you need to remember is just write a simple select statement, select star from customers, and it will show you all the data. And you can restrict the data if you are looking for something specific by using the where clause. So where name is equal to, let us say you want only to see cust3, so it will show you only those rows where the condition is name is equal to cust3, and you can restrict the columns here. Instead of star, you can specify what columns you want. Let us say you just want name and then you want customer ID, so you can specify those columns. And just by writing these simple queries, you will be able to do majority of the testing. If you have to write something very complicated, there are query builder tools available, and you can use those or take help from developers who are good with SQL. But this cannot be an excuse that you don't know SQL skills. If you can write a select statement, you can do majority of the database testing by picking up a particular data and testing whether it is valid or invalid, and you can do a majority of database testing. If not, use the database tools that are available. Now let us move on to the database testing approach. So the overall approach is gather the database requirements. Database design happens at the system design phase in the SDLC. and there may be some in the design specification, there may be some database requirements related to say normalization, that tables should be normalized, etc. You can read more about it on my blog. Or there can be some performance requirements. So if there are any specific database requirements, you can gather those, then create test scenarios against each of those requirements. And in database testing, you have to first test the entire schema. So that means test the design of each and every table, each and every column within each table, each view, each stored procedure, each function, each trigger. Then test the data itself, and then test the test scenarios against the database requirements. Always don't stick to just positive testing that things are working fine. You should also do negative testing, try to insert invalid data into the database and see whether the database accepts it or not. If it is accepts, then that is a defect. Or try to update existing valid data into something invalid, so that should be rejected by the database. Try to delete required data. For example, if a customer has placed some orders and I delete the customer without deleting the orders, then those orders would not make any sense because the customer is already deleted. There is no customer to relate those orders to. So you should do this negative testing also. Performance testing is another thing you can do in database testing, and the way to do performance testing is that you can run the query. You can run the same query in the batch. For example, if you want to test the performance of a view, so you can note down what is the total response time it is taking, and run it for 10 times or 20 times and note the average response time. If you find that it is slow, then that can be a performance issue. We can also do security testing in database testing. Security testing basically involves the privileges. So if the user has restricted privileges so log in to the database management system with those restricted privileges and try to access data that should not be visible to you. And if it is, then that is a security issue. In database testing, use SQL queries. Stick to simple SQL queries. Writing SQL queries is faster, or you can use tools. In tools, you have to do a lot of clicks, etc. So it's a bit slower. So better just remember the basic SQL query, select star from table name, and that will serve you majority of the time. Whenever you are writing queries, you can organize your tests into test suites so that next time you are doing the database testing, you don't have to write everything from scratch. You can store those queries and reuse it the next time you do the database testing. It is possible to automate the tests because queries by themselves, they can be run as a batch, one after the other. And if you have if you can write SQL statements that will verify what you are expecting, then you can automate that testing. So that means you just have to write the overall query, and the query will have the logic to run the SQL statements and verify the results. Or you can do it manually, whatever is feasible for you. Now next, let us look at sample database test plan. And I will first introduce the sections. In the database test plan, first section can be the introduction. So here you can give what is the database name and what are the applications that hook into this database, whether they just read from this database or read and write to the database. So the introduction gives that. Then there is a scope of your database test plan, and this is important to keep you on track. So what are the important items to test in this release? What are the important schema objects that you have to test in this particular release? What are the important data that you have to test? What are the items in scope and out of scope? Then what is going to be the overall test approach? What are the different tests you are going to perform? For example, you can say that I'm going to test these two tables schema, and I'm going to test the data of these 10 important tables by writing queries to verify that the data is correct and the keys are correct. You can list those tests. If there are performance tests or security tests, you can mention those also. Then test environment is the important section of the database test plan. So ideally your test database should be a copy of the production database. So how you are going to get the copy of the production database, if some data needs to be removed from that copy, any sensitive data is there and removed or hidden from that database copy, what is the server you are going to use, what are the tools you are going to use. Then there can be a section on test activities and schedule. So when you are going to do requirement analysis of the database requirements, what is the test design, when you are going to do the test execution, analyze the results and report the defects. If there are multiple people in your team, you can divide up the responsibilities among the different roles. For example, the test lead can be responsible for setting up the test environment, creating the overall database test plan, assigning different tasks, and the tester can actually design the test and execute the test and report the defects. What are going to be the deliverables? For example, the test queries you will create once, but you can use them in subsequent database testing also. Then bug reports are the issues that you are going to find in database testing, and finally the deliverable is the tested database. Then in database test plan, you can mention the risks also, that what are the risks you see. For example, there can be frequent changes in the schema, etc., or there can be large scope of testing, and what is the mitigation, how you will prevent that problem, and if that problem actually happens, how you are going to resolve it. So these can be sections in the database test plan, and I'll show you the sample database test plan that you can see from the blog. And here is this sample database test plan you can see from it. So I hope you have understood database testing in detail, and now you are confident to perform the database testing on your own. So best wishes from my side. Thank you.